All right, so you're moving on to multiplying and dividing with fractions, decimals. And I wanted to make sure to go over your center with you so that way you have a written example of how to get through the problems and you have actual examples. So I'm going to do one of each of the examples with you and fill in the words. So in this case, when you're multiplying, anytime that you multiply with decimals, you don't have to line up the decimals. It's just the number with the most digits goes on top. Okay, and then the decimals don't have to line up. That's a big key there. You'll end up having lots of zeros if you line up your decimals. So count how many spaces in the first number the decimal is moved over. And then count how many spaces in the second number the decimal is moved over. This is how many spaces you move the decimal in your answer. All right, so what that means is I didn't line up the decimals here, but I'm going to multiply, but I have 1, 2, 3 spaces after the decimal here and 1, 2 here. So that means at the end I need to move my decimal 5 spaces. So I'm going to multiply as normal. So 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. And then 2 times 5 is 12, or 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, I'm done with the 5, so I add my 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 2 is 22. Carry the 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. Now I'm going to add my numbers as normal. 5 plus 0 is 5. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 1 plus 0 is 1. And then 1. All right, so then now, like I said, we have to move the decimal over 5 places. So it always starts on the right, because remember, in a whole number, your decimal is always at the end. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So then in this case, my answer is 1 decimal 1 5 2 4 5. So 1 and 15,245 hundred thousandths. Oh, excuse me. All right. So then here with division, the divisor cannot have a decimal. So it might start with 1, but it's going to end up moving. So move the decimal right so it becomes a whole number. Move the same amount of places in the dividend. Place a decimal straight up where you write your answer. And then divide like normal. So what I mean by that is this is a decimal, so I have to move it once to the right. To make it a whole number, what I do to one, I have to do to the other. So my new problem is 2, and then 24 and 8/10. Okay, again, remember I told you guys put a chair up for everybody at the party, including your decimal. Bring your decimal straight up. All right, and then divide like normal. 2 goes into 2 once. Minus 2 is 0. Bring down the 4. 2 goes into 4 twice. Minus 4 is 0. Bring down the 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Minus 8 is 0. So then my answer in this case is 12. Ooh, that is an icky 12. And I apologize, this pen that I have isn't that great, but it's all that I have right now. So my answer here is 12 and 4/10. Remember we talked about it being really important that decimal goes straight up and that our numbers are lined up, so that way that decimal ends up in the correct space. All right, so you can go ahead and continue working on your practice problems, and then make sure that you have your playlist and everything put together and you turn it all in at the end of class.